The city had forgotten how to be kind that night. Snow whipped through the streets like shards of glass, stinging exposed skin and burying the sidewalks under a cruel, silent blanket. Office lights flickered off one by one as people rushed home to warmth, food, and family. No one noticed the small figure trembling near the alley behind the closed bakery. No one, except Ethan Hale. He was halfway to his car when he heard it. "Please, help her, Daddy." The word Daddy hit him harder than the cold ever could. Ethan stopped. For a moment, he thought grief was playing tricks on him. He hadn't been called that word since the night his wife died in childbirth, leaving him with a newborn son who survived only 3 days. Since then, the word had become a ghost, haunting and forbidden. But then he heard it again. Softer now, breaking. "Please." Ethan turned toward the alley. Under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight stood a little girl, no older than 6. Her hair was matted with snow, her fingers purple and bare. She wore sneakers soaked through, the soles barely holding together with tape. In her arms, she cradled a woman wrapped in rags and cardboard, motionless. The girl's knees buckled as Ethan approached. "She won't wake up," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I tried everything." Ethan dropped to his knees without thinking, his expensive suit soaking through instantly. He pressed 2 fingers to the woman's neck. A pulse, weak, irregular, barely there. Hypothermia, severe dehydration, days, maybe weeks, without real food. "How long have you been out here?" he asked the girl, keeping his voice steady. "Since Mama lost her job," she said. "Then our room, then everything." Ethan swallowed. The air felt heavier now. He stripped off his wool coat and wrapped it around both of them, pulling them close to shield them from the wind. The girl clutched his sleeve as if he might vanish if she loosened her grip. "You did good," he told her gently. "You kept her alive." Her lips trembled. "Will she die?" "Not tonight," Ethan said firmly. "Not if I have anything to say about it." At the hospital, chaos replaced silence. Doctors rushed the woman into emergency care while nurses wrapped the girl in blankets and brought her warm broth. She drank it with shaking hands, watching the hallway like she expected someone to steal her mother away forever. Ethan stayed beside her the entire time. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily." "It's nice to meet you, Lily." "I'm Ethan." She studied his face carefully. "You didn't have to stop." He smiled sadly. "I know." Hours passed. Machines beeped. The snow kept falling outside. Finally, a doctor approached. "The woman will survive, but it'll be a long recovery. She has no insurance, no fixed address." Ethan didn't hesitate. "I'll cover everything." The doctor blinked. "You don't even know her." Ethan looked down at Lily, who had fallen asleep against his arm, her small fingers still gripping his cuff. "I know enough." That night, in a cold hospital corridor, a broken man who thought his heart was empty felt it beat with purpose again. And a little girl who had been invisible to the world finally slept, safe. Lily stood just inside the doorway of Ethan's penthouse, her small shoes leaving damp marks on the polished marble floor. She didn't move. The space was too big, too bright, too quiet, nothing like the shelters and borrowed rooms she was used to. "It's okay," Ethan said gently, setting down her small backpack. "You can look around." She nodded but didn't step forward. The social worker cleared her throat. "This arrangement is temporary," she reminded them both. "Until her mother is stable." Ethan signed the paperwork without comment. Temporary or not, he already knew, this wasn't something he could undo. When the door finally closed, Lily released a breath she'd been holding for days. "Am I in trouble?" she asked. "No," Ethan said immediately. "You're home." The word made her blink. Home. She explored the apartment slowly, touching everything like it might vanish. Soft couches, framed photos, shelves filled with books. She paused in front of a picture of a woman holding a baby. "Is that your mama?" Lily asked. "Yes," Ethan said quietly. "Where is she now?" He hesitated. "She passed away." Lily nodded with a maturity far beyond her years. "I'm sorry. My mama gets lost in her head sometimes." That night, Lily refused to sleep in the guest room. She curled up on the couch instead, clutching her jacket. Ethan sat nearby, pretending to read emails he no longer cared about. "You can use the bed," he said softly. "What if you leave?" she asked, barely audible. Ethan's chest tightened. He sat beside her. "I'm not going anywhere." She studied him, then slowly leaned her head against his arm. Within minutes, she was asleep. Mornings became their ritual. Burnt pancakes. Too much syrup. Lily giggling while Ethan attempted to braid her hair before school. He learned the name of her favorite color, her fear of loud voices, and the reason she hated the dark. "It reminds me of when Mama wouldn't wake up," she admitted one evening. So Ethan left the hallway light on every night. Anna's condition improved slowly. Some days she recognized Lily. Some days she didn't. Ethan visited regularly, bringing flowers and updates, never pressure. At work, Ethan missed meetings. Left early. Turned down deals. "You're changing," his assistant warned. "I know," he replied. One afternoon, Lily handed him a drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands beneath a crooked sun. "That's us," she said shyly. Ethan felt something inside him heal. But peace never lasts forever. One evening, a lawyer called. "Relatives from the mother's side have come forward," he said. "They're contesting custody." Ethan looked at Lily asleep on the couch, her fingers still wrapped around his sleeve. "They'll have to go through me," he said. And for the first time in his life, Ethan Hale was afraid of losing something money could never replace. The courthouse felt colder than the winter night that had brought Lily into Ethan's life. Ethan sat in the front row with Lily at his side, her small hand wrapped tightly around his. The judge's bench loomed above them like a distant, indifferent mountain. People whispered in the hallway. Cameras flashed. Reporters tried to capture the story of the billionaire CEO who took in a homeless child. Ethan didn't look at them. He looked at Lily. She stared straight ahead, expression unreadable, brave in a way that made his heart ache. She had grown so much since that first night. Her eyes no longer carried the fear of abandonment. But she still flinched when doors slammed or strangers spoke too loudly. The door opened. Anna's relatives entered with perfect posture and cold smiles. They wore expensive coats, the kind that said "We belong here." One of them, an older woman with sharp eyes, approached the judge's bench first. "Your Honor," she began, voice controlled, "we represent the family of Anna Caldwell. We are requesting immediate custody of Lily Caldwell. Ms. Hale has been unfit to care for her." Ethan's jaw tightened. The judge looked down at him. "Mr. Hale, do you have a response?" Ethan stood, the weight of every decision he'd ever made suddenly feeling heavier than his suit. "Yes," he said, "I've been Lily's guardian for 2 years. I've provided her with stability, love, and a home. I'm not unfit. I'm simply different than you." The woman scoffed. "Different is not a qualification. You are a businessman, not a mother. You have responsibilities, work, travel, public obligations. A child needs consistency." Ethan held his composure. "My work never kept me from her," he said. "If anything, I changed my entire life for her." The judge raised a hand. "Proceed with your evidence." The courtroom filled with the kind of silence that only happens when people know something important is about to break. The woman called a social worker to the stand. "She is a bright child," the social worker said, "but she has suffered trauma. Her mother's mental illness is unstable. Mr. Hale has provided care, but there is concern about long-term stability." Ethan's face stayed calm. Inside, his heart was beating like a drum. Then the older woman produced a stack of papers. "We have proof that Mr. Hale has been financially manipulating Lily's mother," she said. "He has donated money to her hospital bills but has also withheld it to keep her dependent. He is controlling." Lily's grip tightened around Ethan's hand. Ethan spoke, voice steady. "I did not control her. I saved her." The judge paused, looking between them. "And what do you say, Anna?" he asked, turning to the woman in the wheelchair. "Who do you want Lily to live with?" Anna's eyes darted around the courtroom. She looked confused, frightened, as if the room was too big and too loud for her mind to handle. Then she saw Ethan. Her face softened. Tears formed in her eyes. I want her with him," she said, voice trembling. "He's the only one who stayed." The relatives gasped. The courtroom erupted in whispers. The judge leaned forward. "This court must consider what is best for the child." Ethan looked at Lily. "You're safe," he whispered, so softly only she could hear. The judge's final decision was delayed. The hearing ended, and the family left the courtroom. But as Ethan walked out, he could feel the world shifting beneath his feet. His phone buzzed. A message from the board. We need you back at the company immediately. Another message. Your absence is causing instability. We are discussing your removal. Ethan stared at the screen. He had won the courtroom, but now he might lose his company. He looked down at Lily, who was staring up at him with a brave face. I'm not losing you, he whispered. Lily nodded, as if she understood more than she ever should. And in that moment, Ethan realized the truth that had been waiting for him all along. Love always costs something. Sometimes, it costs everything. 10 years later, Ethan Hale sat in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling like it was the sky of a world he was about to leave behind. The room was quiet, too quiet. The hum of machines filled the silence, and each beep felt like a reminder of time slipping away. Ethan's hands were thinner now, his face lined with exhaustion. The years had not been kind to him, but they had been meaningful. He had traded his CEO title for a quieter life. The Hale Tech board had forced him out after the custody battle, calling his choice personal instability. But Ethan didn't care. He had gained something far more valuable. He had gained a family. Lily was now 21, a strong young woman with her mother's eyes and her father's determination. She stood beside his bed in a nurse's uniform, her hair tied back, her hands clasped tightly together as if she could hold him to the world. Dad, she said softly, you look like you're thinking. I am, he admitted. I'm thinking about how unfair life is. Lily's eyes filled. No, she said firmly. Life is, life. But you made it beautiful for me. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. The doctor entered, and Ethan's heart clenched. Mr. Hale, the doctor said gently, your heart is failing. We need a transplant. The waiting list is long. Ethan stared at him. How long? Too long, the doctor replied. Lily took a step forward, her voice steady. Doctor, I want to be tested. Ethan's eyes widened. No, Lily, you can't. Lily's face hardened. I can, and I will. The doctor looked at her, surprised. That's a very risky decision. Are you sure? Lily nodded. He saved me when no one else would. I'm not afraid of saving him. Ethan shook his head, laughing weakly. You don't understand. You're young. You have your whole life. Lily reached for his hand. So did you. He looked at her, and for the first time in years, he felt his fear become something else. Hope. The tests were quick. The results came faster than anyone expected. A match. Lily's heart was compatible. Ethan felt his breath catch. The night before the surgery, Lily sat on the edge of the bed, holding his hand like she was holding the last piece of her childhood. Do you remember the night we met? She asked. Ethan's eyes softened. I remember the snow. And I remember thinking you were an angel, Lily said quietly. You didn't have to stop. You didn't have to care. Ethan's voice cracked. I did. Because I needed to. Lily smiled through her tears. You needed to what? To be needed, he said. For years I thought my life was meaningless. You changed that. Lily leaned closer. Then let me return the favor. The surgery was long and terrifying. Ethan drifted in and out of sleep, clinging to the memory of Lily's face. He woke to the sound of a steady heartbeat. He opened his eyes. Lily was there, pale but alive, her hair messy from the surgery. She smiled weakly. Dad, she whispered. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. You did it. I did, she said. Because you did it for me. The months after surgery were filled with recovery, laughter, and quiet moments that felt like miracles. Ethan watched Lily graduate from nursing school, then later open the Hale Foundation for homeless families. On opening day, Ethan stood beside her in front of a crowd that had come to witness the story they'd all heard in headlines years ago. Lily took the microphone. I was once a child in the snow, she said, voice steady. I was cold. I was hungry. I was invisible. She paused, looking at Ethan, who stood behind her with tears in his eyes. But one man stopped, Lily continued. He didn't just save me. He saved my future. The crowd erupted into applause. Ethan squeezed Lily's hand. From a freezing alley to a life filled with purpose. From a broken man to a father who finally understood what love truly meant. And the truth that had begun on a snowy night years ago became clear. The greatest rescue isn't saving someone from the cold. It's giving them a reason to stay.